Constitutional Court is expected to make a ruling tomorrow on a historic presidential election case concerning opposition leader Nelson Chamisa and his main rival, President Emmerson Mnangagwa. Now, the Chief Justice said that the ruling would be announced on Friday at 1400. For more on this pending ruling and what it might mean for the future of Zimbabwe, I'm now joined in studio by political analyst Dr. Pedzisai Ruhanya. Thanks very much for joining us. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Peter.
So a lot of people are looking at this process that's taking place, and we're using the word historic because there have been many elections, many election challenges, but we've never really been through a process where the Constitutional Court is hearing a petition and it's televised around the world.
Yes, we can say in some way it's historic in the sense that we have that kind of spectacle where things are laid bare for the public to understand and to hear the due processes of the law taking place. But that is as much as it ends there. Fundamentally, we have to look at what kind of political system that these courts and other institutions of the state operate. And having said that, we cannot expect apples to fall from a thorn tree. So the fundamental problem is not how the courts operate, but the nature of the political system in Zimbabwe. Yes, Mugabe went, there has been some opening up, but it's not good enough to have a break away from Mugabe's authoritarian system. The person went, but the system requires fundamental changes in the political culture of the state and democratizing state institutions that are responsible for breeding, for nurturing, and for seeding a democratic culture, which with respect, we are found wanting. The event of 1 August 2018 where protesters were shot by live bullets, unarmed civilians, takes us back to the Mugabe era, and these are issues that current President Mnangagwa needs to look hard at to see if he talks about a new business. Zimbabwe is doing a new culture, having a new culture. These are the kind of things that he needs to look at, and he really needs to tackle them head on in order to have a break from the prior system of authoritarian rule, which I think in many respects it has not changed. The behavior of the army is one that worries us, and with respect, the army is the elephant in the room. The role of the army in the political and electoral affairs of the state need to be addressed in order for us to really have a break, not only from the Mugabe era, but even from the Rhodesian era.
All right, so there's a lot of political questions that need to be interrogated and asked and answered. But people looking at this electoral process, I mean, what they want to know is, was this a fair reflection of the will of the people? And so we would say there was this pre-election process that was free and fair, or peaceful at least. Then we had the counting, we had these V11 forms, we had this petition that was lodged by the opposition, and the courts will make a decision based on the evidence that's been presented, what the observers have noted, and whatever they decide, would that give us a level of comfort that by and large that the result has delivered the will of the people?
I don't think so, with respect. You see, legitimacy is not a product of legality. So the Constitutional Court's decision on its own will not bestow legitimacy on President Mnangagwa and his government. We need a combination of legal rational authority in terms of what the court says, but also political legitimacy. Because when we talk about elections, we are talking fundamentally about two things: the environment attendant to the holding of elections and the content or administration of that election. Yes, with respect, we must accept that the environment, as compared to the past environment, was not violent. There were no cases of violence, but there was psychological warfare, a harvest of fear, where the military was deployed to remind citizens, to remind voters that if they don't vote correctly, we have 2008 where there was rampant violence. We have Gukura Hundi. So there was psychological warfare, there was psychological violence, but in terms of peaceful environment, yes, it was. But also the fundamental issue is the role of the military in the electoral management body that is the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, which the chairperson of the Electoral Commission actually agrees that there is 15% ex-soldiers. We don't have a problem with ex-soldiers who are citizens playing a role in the electoral or public affairs of the state. But it is their conduct and their relationship with those who serve in the army that is contentious, contestable, and questionable.
All right. So, okay. So I'm going to ask you to look at two scenarios. Let's say the courts say they don't go for the option of a rerun or whatever, but they decide either Nelson Chamisa is the winner or Emmerson Mnangagwa is the winner. What are the two futures for Zimbabwe with those two outcomes?
I don't think we have a situation where they will have a result that says Chamisa is the winner. I think they will declare President Mnangagwa the winner. But like I said, that legal positivist approach to the problem of Zimbabwe will not resolve the problem. What will resolve the problem is to plant proper trees. If you want to reap apples, plant apple trees. So the challenge is with President Mnangagwa to reform the political system in the country and to reform his government.
Can he do that?
If he doesn't do that, it's either he reforms or he dies, or the state dies, or the state continues to be in problems. He has no option apart from reforming that state. When the Constitutional Court makes a decision, which I think we must accept, whether we like it or not, we must accept it. That is the highest court in the land. It makes a decision, it is acceptable. But beyond the constitutional decision, the legitimacy of President Mnangagwa and his government is not going to be determined by the court ruling, but how he addresses the political and social problems that Zimbabwe is facing, and reforming state institutions to make sure that we have a proper democratic system, not a competitive political authoritarian system where we have state institutions laid out in the constitution. But in terms of how they operate, they are manipulated, they are captured. So competition will be there like we saw in the election, but it will be unfair and unfree competition. Those are the issues that the president has to address in order for the state to move forward.
All right, Dr. Ruhanya, unfortunately we've run out of time, but hopefully we can catch up with you again after the decision, which is due tomorrow afternoon at 1400. The Constitutional Court will rule which way the country will go forwards in terms of the objection that was raised by the opposition.